What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Meryl Fatemi, joining you back on a late Friday night. A lot of people going out on this Friday night. They're like, Rob, you want to go out? Hey, Rob, you're at work. After work, you got any plans? Yeah, man. It's time to do a Triple Threat Show. It's time to get down and talk about some college basketball. I'm sorry I wasn't here this morning to recap the games yesterday and then preview the games today. What we're going to end up actually doing is just turn them into a sandwich, recap day one, recap day two. I won't preview day three. We'll be back tomorrow for another show. But we got to go one step at a time here. And if I'm being honest, we are on a little bit of a time crunch. I do got to be somewhere. I got to be out of my house by 11:30. Well, I got to be out of my house by 11:45. So that means I got 44 minutes and counting to let you guys know everything there is to know about college basketball. I'm going to try to get into some NBA. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the NBA right now that we got to get into. Get into a little bit of NFL talk. That's about it. But the NFL talk might be a little bit optional. But those are the two big ones. College basketball and NBA are the two big ones that I'm trying to get to. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. But before I do that, drop a follow on YouTube. Drop a follow on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your content. Wherever you try to wherever you try to look for sports guys, look for me, my boy Jeremy, Nolan Jambor out here. We're always here for you guys every weekday, morning, night. We try to get videos out every day at the very least. And their schedules are really all over the place because we got lives outside of this. But we're trying to make it work day by day, step by step. So I appreciate everybody here that's taking the time to spend some of their day to listen to us talk some basketball. Let's get into it really quick because I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of basketball to get into yesterday. And there was a lot today, but I got to start with day one. I went 8-8 with my picks. I had some crazy picks that didn't work. Wisconsin, T, I don't think you're in here on TikTok. There was a guy named by the name of T on TikTok called me out. High Point's going to beat Wisconsin. You were right. I was not aware of how good Charlie Johnston was on High Point. The way Chase Johnson, the way he was playing down the stretch of that game, from shooting from the logo. He had his first 2-point field goal to take the lead in the first win in High Point college history. Their first win in March Madness. The first time they had actually won a game and advanced to the round of 32. Crazy stuff from the High Point Panthers. But USF falls in a really tough loss. You hate to see it with their head coach. You knew how badly he wanted to win that game. Louisville was just too much. And the biggest thing that I've seen so far in this tournament, if there's one thing I've learned in the first 2 days of the tournament this year, and honestly, this is a rule of thumb that we've got to take into every year moving forward. Yeah, we want some of these underdog stories, but at the end of the day, the SEC, the ACC, the Big East, the Big Ten, those four conferences, you could even bring in some of the Mountain West with Gonzaga. Those, with honestly just Gonzaga alone, those four conferences plus Gonzaga are the creme de la creme of college basketball for a reason. There's a reason their conferences get the most teams out. There's a reason their conferences produce the most teams in the tournament. They're the top 25 teams in the tournament for most of the year for a reason. They produce the best players. They produce the best teams. And there's a reason that they don't lose. There's a reason. There's a reason that, well, that's a bad example. But there's a reason, for example, Nebraska beat Troy. There's a reason, well, Duke beat Siena, even though Siena was right there neck and neck with Duke. Vanderbilt beat McNeese in what was really a really close game. I could keep going on. Texas A&M beating St. Mary's. There's some good examples and there's some not so good examples. Kentucky beating Santa Clara. All right, I'm going to stop there because I want to preview some of these games. But what I'm saying is those teams, as badly as you want, well, not as badly as you want, but as much as we think some of these games are going to be underdogs, or they're just going to be upsets. For example, I really thought Troy had a chance to beat Nebraska. The way that Nebraska played in their game in their Big Ten tournament against Purdue, I thought they were going to actually go out there and lose a close game to Troy. Instead, they end up winning by 30. I thought Wisconsin would beat High Point. High Point wins in what was honestly one of the craziest games we've seen in a while. Louisville beats USF. Michigan State beats North Dakota State really, really handily. Arkansas beating Hawaii. These games are just, you just got to roll with the better team in the better conference. And that's something I'm going to take it to the next tournament and from here on out. So a lot of people are probably going to say, Rob, this is something that we've known for a while. I'm going to be like, yeah, you're right. I didn't know. You guys knew. I'm just learning for the first time. Even though this is like my 6th year doing the tournament bracket. But regardless, like I said, TCU beat Ohio State. Ohio State couldn't get the comeback done. TCU pulls it out by 2. I'm going to go by this game by game. Nebraska beats Troy by 30. Louisville, honestly, really, really tight game between them and South Florida. I thought South Florida was going to be able to get some more shots up. But Isaac McNeely was just too good with 23 points, 8 of 11 from the field, 7 of 10 from 3-point range, only 2 turnovers. He was the best player on the court for a reason, Isaac McNeely, and he didn't even get the most minutes for Louisville, which was Ryan Conwell. I mean, Louisville deserves a lot of credit for the way that they played. And honestly, if it wasn't for McNeely, I don't think Louisville would have won this game. He was the reason Louisville was able to pull this one out. High Point in Wisconsin, Chase Johnston. And I know he's the biggest hype story out there right now, one of the biggest in college basketball right now. But he deserves his props. I know Rob Martin went out there and dropped 23 points. The entire team went off. There was 5 different guys went into double figures, shooting or scoring wise, for the High Point Panthers. And they beat a really good Wisconsin Badgers team with John Blackwell and Nick Boyd combining for 50 points again, or 49 points. These boys went out there and beat a legit team in the Big Ten. That being Wisconsin. And I really thought Wisconsin had a chance in this one. But, like I said, that was a really crazy win for High Point. I did not expect it. I knew High Point was good at shooting. I thought Wisconsin was just better. I thought Wisconsin, at the end of the day, was a better version of High Point. Completely wrong. Duke beat Siena. Don't know how they did it. I mean, Siena was up with like 4 minutes left to go in this game. Duke somehow rallies out of absolutely nowhere. Cameron Boozer put up 22 points with 13 rebounds, gets to the free throw line 14 times, or 7 times, puts up 14 free throws. And the Blue Devils are able to pull out what was a crazy win, almost a crazy upset, the second 16 seed in college basketball history to beat a 1 seed. Almost happened in 2026 with Siena. Siena of all teams, Duke being the highest favorite to win the national championship this year among brackets. I think they're at like 23% or something, 23% of brackets having Duke winning it all. That's how crazy this is. Like, legitimately, this is that was almost one of the craziest upsets we've seen in a while. Vanderbilt beating McNeese. I expected it, but McNeese put up a really good fight against this team. But Vandy just being too much with their guards, with Tyler Tanner being way too much, putting up 26 points. Michigan State beating North Dakota State by 30. Arkansas beating Hawaii by 20. Arkansas being my team that's going to end up I think they're going to end up winning the national championship. I know it's crazy. I know a lot of people are like, Arkansas, a 4 seed? Not even a top 3 seed? Yeah, they're the SEC champions for a reason. I know they almost lost to Ole Miss, but I don't care. Ole Miss was a really good team. I think they should have been in the tournament. If only they had won the SEC tournament. I thought they were so close. They were right there for it. Arkansas just still being really good with John Calipari, having his guys ready to go. Darius Acuff still being one of the best players in college with put up 24 points in that one. Malik Thomas with 21. The Razorbacks are a good team at the end of the day, and you got to give them their flowers for how good they played. They deserve it. This was the next game was one of the biggest games, one of the craziest games I've ever seen. I'm literally sitting here playing a video game with my buddy. VCU versus UNC. I'm sitting there talking over the mic. I'm like, hey man, I don't know. I have VCU winning this, but they're down by 19 points with like 15 minutes to go in the second half. I'm like, all right, this game's over. UNC won. I'm already like, I probably lost like 5 games at that point. I was like, my bracket's already cooked. It doesn't matter. VCU losing won't really mean that much. But the way that this VCU Rams team played, the biggest comeback in college basketball, I'm pretty sure in March Madness history, and with like 10 minutes to go, they find themselves down by 13 points. They found themselves down by 19 points at one point, and battling all the way back. Terrence Hill, the A-10 deserves their flowers. The A-10 might be one of the best conferences we've seen. We saw VCU do it. We just saw what St. Louis did to Georgia, which I'll get to in a little bit. Don't you worry. VCU comes back, wins in overtime, put by 4 points, hitting a buzzer beater or hitting a 3-point shot, and then getting to the free with I think they had 19 seconds left, and winning it winning by 4 points. This team pulled out what was one of the most miraculous wins we've seen in a long, long time. UNC had all the UNC was the favorite by far. By far. There was a lot of people said VCU had a chance to upset UNC. But I mean, it's UNC. They'd gone toe-to-toe with Duke. They're one of the better teams in the ACC. It's the Tar Heels. They'd only lost 9 games this season. But the way that VCU played in this game, especially in the second half, they're going to be really dangerous for anyone to go toe-to-toe with in the second round. And I can't wait to see it. I'll preview that one tomorrow. But let's go on to the next game. VCU Rams beat the UNC by 4 points in overtime. Michigan beat Howard by 20. Some of these games, I'm just going to say that. Texas A&M and St. Mary's. I really thought St. Mary's was going to win this game. But Texas A&M out of nowhere. I mean, Rasheen Agee with 22 points in this one. 7-11 for the field. Really efficient shooting with 9 rebounds to go along with it. He was the leader of the team for the Aggies in this one, and he deserves all the props for the way that he played. He went out there for 31 minutes and put up an absolute show. On the other side for St. Mary's, I mean, it was Joshua Dent. Yes, Donovan Dent's brother. Went out there, only put up 18 points, but I thought St. Mary's really had a good chance of winning this one. The way that Texas A&M started the SEC tournament, in their conference tournament, wasn't really good. Them losing to, I'm pretty sure they lost to either lost to Missouri or they lost to Ole Miss. But I mean, the way that they played, you thought that they would actually have a good shot you thought that St. Mary's actually had a good shot of winning this one. But no, this one goes to the Aggies. The 11-loss Aggies putting up what was a really good game for them, and they're getting ready to play Houston tomorrow, which is going to be a really big game. A battle of Texas in the second round. From there, though, we go to Texas versus BYU. Now, this one was tough. This one hits home because A.J. DeBonsta is from Boston. So I really was rooting for BYU. I thought BYU was going to be a team that could go out there and play spoiler to some of the better teams in the conference, in the tournament. A team like a Gonzaga. I thought they were going to beat Texas, and then I thought they were going to go out there and beat Gonzaga in the next round and move on to the Sweet 16. DeBonsta did what he could, 35 points, exactly what you expect. Puts up 12 free throws, has 10 rebounds in the game. But he has 5 turnovers, playing all 40 minutes of the game versus Texas, plays his heart out, and BYU just falls. And it was just, they lost by 8 points, but still, it hurts to see a type of game like this. Matas, I'm not even going to try. The center for Texas, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. I apologize. 23 points for the Texas center. 23 points and 16 rebounds. I don't know where this kid's from. But the way that he played for Texas, Matas Vokataitis, I'm butchering it. I apologize. But from Lithuania, it's always the Europeans, man. You saw it. We've seen it with Luka. We've seen it with Jokic. We've seen it with Wemby. The way that they're able to produce talent right now. We're going to get to it in a little bit with the Illinois Center. Don't you worry. There's a lot of teams. The way that this team the way that they've been able to produce talent, not only in the NBA, but now on the college basketball scene as well. 23 points for this kid. And I honestly could not. He went 3 of 11 from the free throw line, but he put up 16 rebounds with his 23 points. There's nothing else to really be said. He was the reason why Texas won this game. He was a man amongst boys in the paint. I think Houston's going to have a better opportunity to wrap him up and not let Texas open up the 3-point shot with him. Open up the 3-point shot, because that's what happens when you have a good center like that. Collapses the defense and opens up the outside. That's why you see a guy like Tremont Mark putting up 19 points. because he went 3 for 6 from three and he was able to shoot efficiently and play a great game. But I digress. Texas goes out there and beats BYU, an 11 seed over a 6 seed. Penn loses to Illinois by 35. I mean, that game, I thought Penn had a chance until I met a guy by the name of David Mirkovich. If you guys don't know who this kid is, I recommend you go look him up. This kid put up 29 points and 17 rebounds in 28 minutes. I'll say it again, 29 points and 17 rebounds. There's nothing else to be said. He's Montenegrin. Again, another Eastern European guy. I mean, the way he was able to play, the way that he was able to just dominate the paint, giving Penn no opportunities to get anything going, get any rebounds. All their shots for Penn, especially with Mike Zanoni, putting up 20 points, it all came from the outside. 9 of 18 from the field. But he went 2 for 6 from three. All you could do was put up threes, put up falling away jumpers, and hope and pray that anything would go in. And honestly, it's not a high percentage shot, especially with a team like Illinois that can get downhill quick, fast, and in a hurry, especially when you have a guy like Mirkovich that can just sit there in the paint and get you rebounds whenever you want. Illinois is one of the best teams in the country. I slept on this team. I thought their loss to Wisconsin was bad enough and was going to put them in a tough spot against a team like Penn. And even if they beat Penn, I thought they would lose in the next round. But no. Not when you have a center that goes out there and does what he did. This team is back. This team is going to be around for a long time. And watch out for this Illinois team. I don't know who they're facing in the next round. They're going to go out there and face VCU tomorrow. That's going to be a big-time game. I'm going to pick Illinois to win that one. I'm giving you some of my picks now because that's how good Illinois looked. And yes, recency bias plays a role in this because I didn't watch the regular season. But still, Illinois looked incredible in this game. Incredible. And that kid Mirkovich is going to be a pick, a guy to look out for with the NBA draft rolling around the corner. I'm telling you. Moving on, St. Louis beating Georgia by 30. Or doubling them up by halftime. Putting up 49 points at half. Putting up 53 points in the second half. I mean, St. Louis was everywhere. You can't tell me that this team is not one of the best teams in the country. The way that St. Louis played last night. You can't do it. You can't have a conversation about who the best teams in the country are, especially in this tournament right now, and not have St. Louis up in that conversation because of the way that they shoot, because of the way that they defend. They're like Miami, Ohio, if Miami, Ohio actually had the legit shot makers that they say they have. A lot of people say Miami, Ohio is good, and we saw what they did against Tennessee. I'll get there in a little bit. You saw what they did against Tennessee. St. Louis is so much better than them in every way. They only shot 32% from three. Shot 58% from the field. Got to the free throw line, was able to rebound, was able to get assists. Points off turnovers, fast break points. They dominated in every single category. Georgia, a team in the SEC, a team that almost, yes, they lost to Ole Miss as well. But a team that beat Alabama, a team that went toe-to-toe with a lot of teams, beat Kentucky in the regular season, beat Texas, went toe-to-toe with a lot of the top teams in the SEC in the country. And they lose by 30? St. Louis is going to be a tough out for anybody to face, and I think they're a lock for the Sweet 16 at this point. I know they're a 9 seed, meaning they're going up against a 1 seed. They're going up against Michigan coming up next. So I'll take that back. They're probably not a lock, but they're going to give Michigan problems. If Michigan's guards are not ready to go in that game tomorrow night, St. Louis might run them out of the park. I'm serious. Yes, they have a good center in Michigan, but they don't have... If their guard plays are not ready to go, if they show up like they did against Purdue and start snoozing, shooting the ball, St. Louis is going to be all over them like piranhas. I'm telling you. That's how good this St. Louis Billikens team is. I like this team. They're just like Illinois for me at this point. They're a team that's really shocked me and a team that you really need to watch out for as this tournament goes along. Houston beat Idaho by 30. I expected that. Everybody pretty much did. That's how good Houston is. Holding Idaho to under 50 points, not so much. That's how good this defense is, though. They prove it time and time again. They deserve all the props in the world, the way that they're able to play. And just, it's unbelievable. 8 steals for the team. Out rebounding them by 44-29. The way that this Houston Cougars team is playing, they have a real chance to win the entire thing. They're going to go to they're in my Final Four, but they're up there for one of the best teams in the country, no doubt about it. And then we saw Gonzaga go out there and beat Kennesaw State. About what you expect. I apologize, my phone died. Got to get TikTok live back on. But Gonzaga, Kennesaw State looked really good at the beginning of the game, but you knew Gonzaga was going to go on a run at some point and put them away and just hold them off. That's how good Gonzaga is. Gonzaga, though, is a little bit inconsistent. We'll see how they go next round. I'll give a little bit of a prediction tomorrow on that one. Kentucky, that was just day 1, by the way. Switching to day 2, and I'll go a little bit faster. How long was that? What are we talking about? For 20 minutes? Talking about day 1? Yeah, let's shorten that up. Kentucky and Santa Clara. If you guys didn't see that game, you guys missed one of the best, probably the best game of the tournament so far. I know I said VCU UNC, but this was up there for one of the best games in the country, probably the best. Going back and forth, there was only a 1-point difference at halftime, 2-point difference at halftime in favor of Santa Clara. Santa Clara going up and down, back and forth with Kentucky. Kentucky going up to a 6-point lead at one point. I thought they were going to go on a run and were ready to put Santa Clara away with under 6 minutes to play. Next thing you know, Santa Clara fires right back at them, goes on a run, hits a couple threes, which they had been ice cold all day, get red hot late in that game, especially late in the second half. Not Judas. Hold on, let me fix this real quick. All right. Just resume it. All right. We're good. We're back, kind of. I'm just going to do this. All right. As I was saying, I apologize. I was just fixing my TikTok live. Kentucky going out there, like I said, Santa Clara going late in the second half, going on a late push, going on a 7-0 run to tie the game, to take the lead. If you guys missed the last 20 seconds of this game, honestly, 20 seconds. Crazy finish. Kentucky going up there, laying the ball in. They go up by 3. Santa Clara actually, they laid the ball up with 9.9 seconds. It was either 19 or 9. They go up and lay the ball up and in to tie the game. Santa Clara goes down the other end in less than 10 seconds. In less than 6 seconds, puts up a 3, buries it. I wish I had audio. I haven't seen I just watched it without audio while I was at work. I'm just repeating what I saw. Hits a 3 in the corner. They go up by 3 with under 5 seconds to play. And then Kentucky from the logo, beyond half court, from the logo, hucks up a 3 and lasers it to send the game to overtime. Now, it's really tough because if you watch the replay, the Santa Clara coach is begging for a timeout for a good 2 seconds as the ref is running the opposite direction. Begging for one. Absolutely begging on his hands and knees for the refs to call a timeout. Gets nowhere, and that's what causes the Kentucky to just run the floor, get up ahead of the defense, get an open shot. Even no matter how crazy of a shot it was, just heaving it. And absolutely lasers it to send it to overtime. Kentucky outplaying Santa Clara in overtime and gets the win by 5 points. It was an unbelievable game. I would say if you guys haven't seen it, go out there and watch those highlights. Otego Away went up there and put on an absolute show, put up 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in a college basketball game. This isn't the NBA. This is college basketball with 8 less minutes than a regular NBA game. I mean, it speaks for himself. It speaks for itself how good he looked. Mohamed Diabate goes out there and puts on another 17 points to go along with it. Santa Clara themselves, you got to give them props. 4 of them going out there, going up for over double digits. Elijah Mahi for 20. goes 4 for 8 from 3. The team played their heart out. Both teams they both shot over 35%, but Santa Clara under 45%, just over 41% from the field. That's what really killed them in this one. Their defense is what kept them in it. They were all over Kentucky the entire game. Yes, Kentucky was able to get some steals as well. But if you watch that game, Santa Clara's defense is what held Kentucky off every time they went on a run. Every time you felt like Kentucky was able to do something, it was Santa Clara's defense that was able to stifle it and give their offense an opportunity to come back. And that's what eventually happened. That is what eventually happened in this one. Kentucky escaping overtime with a win, and they head to the second round. Unbelievable game to start off day 2. Unbelievable game. I had Santa Clara in my bracket. I didn't care. Over those last 5 minutes. Those last 5 minutes were just unbelievable to see. If you were just a pure basketball fan, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Akron versus Texas Tech, another game I thought the underdog would win. I got to see what my underdog record actually was, because this is it's really, like, in terms of who I picked, I'm pretty sure like 80% of my underdogs lost in the first 2 days so far, even though it's not even over yet, because there is still another game still going right now. Akron, Texas Tech beats them by 20. Akron keeping it close, only down by, I think, 9 points at halftime, sticking with Texas Tech all the way through the midway point of the second half. But around the 7-minute mark, Texas Tech just hitting the ground running. They found their offensive of mojo. They're able to put Akron into bad situations. Amani Lyles did what he could, putting up 26 points, 8 of 10 from the free throw line, 8 of 14 from the field, 2 steals, 2 blocks, doing whatever he could to keep his team in it. Shame Scott with 20 points on top of it, going 3 for 5 from 3, staying efficient. But I mean, Jalen Petty, you saw 6 guys go out there and put up double-digit points for Texas Tech, for the Raiders in this one. It's the reason why they won. It's a well-balanced offense. And like I said, they just found their mojo late in this game. 5 of 19 from three-point range for Akron in this one. 26%. It's the name of the game. If you can't shoot threes in today's age, especially if you're an underdog and the opposing team, the favorite, starts struggling from 3, that's your door to start attacking, to chip at a lead, to actually to have an opportunity to upset them. This is college basketball. This is what happens. But when the opposite happens, that's what leads to blowouts. And that's what we saw today with Texas Tech. Texas Tech was the better team. I thought Akron actually had an opportunity because of the way they shoot the ball at a higher clip. We saw what they were able to do in the Mid-American Conference. Not even just in the conference tournament, the entire year. They were shooting the lights out. Them and Miami, Ohio were neck and neck in terms of their shooting abilities. But Texas Tech putting on an absolute show and taking down Akron. Arizona and Long Island University, Arizona beat them by 40. What else do you expect? Arizona is a 1 seed for a reason. Virginia and Wright State actually led this game at halftime. They led this game up by 5 points. And then Virginia continued on to beat them outscore them by 14 points in the second half. That's how good this Virginia team is. They were in the ACC title game with Duke for a reason. They're an unbelievable team. Jakari White with 26 points in this one, 10 of 12 from the field. Unbelievable efficiency, 6 of 8 from three-point range. Jakari White. That's why this Virginia team ended up winning this game, because of their efficiency, the way they were able to play together. It's the name of the game in college basketball. And I know I keep repeating myself with some of these teams, but seriously, that's how it goes. Iowa State beats Tennessee State by 30. Alabama over Hofstra by 20. What was really a close game at halftime. Only a 2-point game at halftime. And Alabama proceeds to blow them out by 18 points. Almost 20 points in the second half in terms of scoring. That 53-35 run in the second half for Alabama, specifically over those last 10 minutes, it was just a landslide. When Hofstra lost it, they lost it to Alabama. Utah State and Villanova, phenomenal game. Villanova led this one at half. They were up on Utah State. It looked like Utah State was going to fall to Villanova. Villanova, who was the favorite, but Utah State, a team that had gone toe-to-toe in the Mountain West, beat San Diego State, was the reason why SDSU is home right now. They take it to Villanova in the second half. They go on a 9-0 run, specifically right at the 10-minute mark, right at the midway point of the second half. They go on a run, and they don't look back. They don't even give the lead back to Villanova, leading this game and ultimately winning this game by 10 points. This is Utah State team is a real team in this tournament. I know they only beat Villanova by 10. And I know Villanova is not even one of the top seeds in this tournament. They're only an 8 seed, and they're not great, but they're not horrible either. Watch out tomorrow when they face Arizona now. I'm telling you. Just watch what this team does. I'm telling you. That's all I'm going to say. And you'll see. I'll have a full breakdown waiting for you tomorrow. You'll see. Tennessee and Miami, Ohio. Tennessee beats them by 22. I thought Miami, Ohio had an opportunity to knock off Tennessee the way that Tennessee was playing in the SEC tournament. Did not have a good tournament at all. But they still secure a 6 seed. Even though I had 11 losses, they still secure a 6 seed. And they fall to Vanderbilt by 7 points in the tournament. They turn around against Miami, Ohio, and what was honestly just an ass whooping. Miami, Ohio had no chance in this game. It was a 20-point lead at halftime. That's all you need to know. And Tennessee ended up winning this game by 22 points. Miami, Ohio, one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country, shot 24% from the stripe tonight. 7 of 29. Now, Tennessee didn't shoot much better, 9 of 20, but that's still 45%. That's a big difference to 24, and that's the biggest difference. That's the reason why they ended up losing this game. At the end of the day, Miami, Ohio probably hucked up shot. I didn't really watch a whole lot of the game, but I did see from what I saw, it looked like Miami, Ohio did not have anything going, could not get their offense sputtering, and ultimately lost this game. Iowa, Clemson, I picked Iowa to win this game, and they ultimately did. They won by 6. One of my only underdogs that actually won today. Them and Utah State. Thank you guys for actually giving me some credibility in this one. Iowa goes out there and beats Clemson. St. John's beating UNI by 29 or 26, excuse me. What would you expect? UCLA and UCF. You saw an own goal in this one where UCF's John Bull actually put in a basket for UCLA. Crazy shot. It's crazy. I don't even know. That was such a weird game. UCLA kind of playing with their food. Did not make me feel good, especially with their next game going up against UConn coming up really, really soon. If UConn ultimately wins, we'll get there in a second. We're starting to get to the end of our list here. UCLA, USF, UCLA ultimately winning by 4 points. Purdue beating Queens by 40 or 34, 33. And about what you expect. After that, you got... That's the rest. That's the rest of our final scores from here on out. From now on, we got live games, and honestly, this isn't going to be live for much longer. Florida has 87 points right now with 8 minutes left to go in the game against Prairie View, who has 35. It was a 39-point lead for Florida in this one at halftime. I'm pretty sure this game's over. You knew how good Florida was going into this. They have 6 guys in double-digit scoring right now. They're about to have 7 with Isaiah Brown sitting at 7 points, but he's probably going to hit double figures at some point. This Florida team is too good. They're going to continue to be really good. Kansas and California Baptist, I may or may not have thought Kansas was going to lose this game after we saw what we saw in the in the Big 12 tournament. Yeah, no. That's the other tournament that gets a lot of bids. Houston's a really big reason. Kansas is a really big reason. TCU continues to prove why. But I thought after Houston beat them by 20, I thought California Baptist actually had an opportunity. Nope. Halftime, Kansas is up by 20. Kansas is going to win that game, but ultimately, we'll see how that all plays out. And we'll have a full breakdown of that game for tomorrow. Missouri and Miami, really close game right now. Miami up by 1 point here at halftime. This is a really close game. If this is probably one of the best games of the rest of the evening. And then, of course, we have Furman and UConn. UConn, I thought, was going to take really pretty swift business of Furman. But we also remember what Furman did last year to Virginia. They're only down by 5 points with a minute left to go in the first half. This smells a little bit just like Siena, except Siena was up by this point. Terrace Reed with 17 points in the first half. Perfect from the field, 7 of 7 with 14 rebounds. It's the reason why UConn is up. And if UConn loses this game with this man putting up this stat line, he's 19 and 15 in the first half. I mean, it's an abomination if they lose this game. It's truly an abomination. Tom House with 10 points. Alex Wilkins with 15 points in the first half so far. But still, if UConn loses this game with the way that this man Terrace Reed has played so far in the first half, I don't know of a more disappointing stat line. A more unbelievable stat line that was just lost. Nothing I've ever... You can't... I don't... 19 and 16 in the first... I was literally talking about... It's literally going up in real time. I was talking about Merkovich in Illinois going off for 29 and 17. This man has almost the exact same amount of rebounds in less than one half. The first half's not even over. UConn better win this game, and they will square off against UCLA in the next round. We'll see if that all stands. I hope it stands for UConn's sake because they won't live it. I won't let them live it up if they don't. And yeah, I'm not going into tomorrow's. That's enough college basketball for today. I'm not the biggest college basketball guy, but when it comes to March Madness, I have to be. I'm a basketball guy. I'm just not a college basketball guy. I'm more of an NBA guy. Let's go jump over to my forte. Let's go jump right over. I just thought about getting water, but no. Let's go jump over to the NBA. Because there's so much to talk about the NBA right now. The college basketball is unbelievable, don't get me wrong. But what it's doing to shadow what is going on in the NBA, what's going on in the Western Conference with the Lakers. Detroit just lost their best player and honestly probably the number 2 or number 3 MVP candidate out there right now. Let's start there. Detroit loses Cade Cunningham. Officially announced yesterday morning. He apparently has a collapsed lung. Not sure when he sustained the injury, but he sustained it, and it's done. It's over. Detroit has lost Cade Cunningham for an injury that, generally from what I've seen, he's going to be out for a month. I mean, I wish I honestly. No, I mean. I'll just cut it. Tomorrow, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. Just because I'm looking stuff up. No. We'll talk about this more tomorrow. Detroit loses Cade Cunningham. Lakers have quick sneak peek. The Lakers have won 8 in a row. They're 11-1 in their last 10. Luka has gone absolutely ballistic in his last few games. Has a 60-point game over the stretch, a 40-point game, a 50-point game. I don't think he's had less than 35 points in that 8-game stretch. It's unbelievable what we're seeing from Luka right now. The way he's been able to carry this Lakers team with 0 defense and 0 role players, carrying a 40-year-old up and down the court in LeBron James. Yes, carrying him. He's carrying him. That's LeBron. That's Luka Doncic for you, and he's the best. He's proving why he still has to be in the conversation for best player in the NBA right now. And I'll have some more stats for you there. Celtics, can the Celtics or Knicks actually beat Detroit? We're going to get into this a little bit further tomorrow. But the Knicks head coach, Mike Brown, is he the real guy? Was he the right hire for this team? And is it showing right now why he wasn't? Is it showing over the last month or so why Mike Brown was not the answer for this team? Bo Nix, I said I was going to get into the NFL. I'll get into it a little bit. Jalen Waddle's getting a new teammate Bo Nix is getting a new teammate in Denver in Jalen Waddle. He's going to be standing across from Cortland Sutton. It's only an upgrade for that wide receiver room with Cortland Sutton. Trey Franklin's still there. I don't hate him. He's just a young player that still needs to blossom. They still have a good running back group over there. This is a really good Broncos team. They're probably going to go out there and win the AFC East. Outside of possibly one team that I don't mind talking NFL right now. Outside of maybe the Vegas Raiders, who I'm really high on. I mean, if you guys don't know how good this Raiders team is about to be, and I'm not just trying to pull your leg, Fernando Mendoza is going to win the Rookie of the Year in the NFL. He's going to win the Rookie of the Year. I'm telling you now. Brock Bowers is going to be one of the best players in the league next year. They're going to bring Max Crosby back most likely, unless he gets traded. But I think at this point they're probably going to bring him back. The Ashton Genty is going to continue to improve. You still have the wide receiver room that you still need to upgrade, but I'm not worried about that when you look at this team. This team is loaded in every way, shape, and form. You have a good coach. You have a good running back. You have a good quarterback now. They're probably the only team. I like the Chargers. I don't love the Chargers. Them and the Broncos are going to be the top two seeds in the AFC West. And yes, I know there's another team in Kansas City. I'm not even going to bring them up. I don't hate them. I just think they have a lot of holes. I don't care that they got K9. They need to, if they get Tyreek Hill, maybe I'll throw them back in the conversation when Patrick Mahomes comes back. But until then, they still don't have wide receivers. Plain and simple. Bo Nix is going to get their new guy back. I think Bo Nix is going to continue to grow with Jalen Waddle, with Cortland Sutton. I think it's only going to improve the team that they already have built around him. And this is going to be a really good Broncos team for a while. I'm completely blanking on their running back, R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins. That duo right there, I mean, I'm not saying it's like Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet or anything, but that's a good duo. That's probably one of the most underrated duos, especially from what we saw from R.J. Harvey late in the season last year. This Broncos team is only getting better. I promise you, this Broncos team is only getting better and is going to find themselves in a Super Bowl at some point or another with that defense and their new offense that's going to continue to be able to support the defense a little bit and actually put points on the board instead of just going 3 and out when they have like 30 yards or settling for field goals when they're like 30 yards away from the field goal post. The other team, that was one thing I was going to get into the NFL. The other one isn't announced yet, but we did see some things spiraling around Twitter. Apparently, A.J. Brown has a set deal with the New England Patriots. And yes, I'm from Boston, so I'm going to talk about this. A.J. Brown, the reason why they haven't announced this deal, just so you know, is because the deal it's been accepted verbally, but it hasn't been signed. And they're not going to sign it until July or June 1st, June or July 1st, whenever the dead cap hits. Because when the dead cap period hits, his contract goes from $84 million to $21 million. And if you don't know anything about NFL trades, quick crash course, when you trade for a player like that, your team, whoever the Eagles trade to, that team has to take that contract as dead money. And dead money is you lose that money from the cap. It doesn't even go to A.J. Brown. It's just gone. It's just zeros. You just get hit with it and it's gone. So to go from 80 to save almost $60 million, over $60 million in revenue, not only allows you to get another player, probably an offensive lineman, because you saw how thrashed that offensive line got cooked by Seattle's defense. If they can get another guy, it just gives them leeway to make moves at a trade deadline midway through the season if somebody gets hurt, or like I said, get another guy to go along with A.J. Brown. But now they have A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs standing opposite each other. You still have Kayshon Boutte. You still have Austin Hooper. You still have Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. And, of course, you still have the MVP in Drake May. And I don't care Matt Stafford got it. Drake May is still going to – I thought Drake May was going to have a slump next year. This is something that we haven't really talked about really on the show yet, that we're going to need to soon talk about probably in the summertime. I did think the Patriots were going to have a little bit of a slump next year. I thought they were going to actually have like 9 wins. They also have a really tough schedule, so that doesn't help them. But I think they're only going to have like 9, maybe I don't think 8. 8's a little low. But 9, 10 wins is around the sweet spot where I thought they were going to hit. I thought they were going to actually get hit with some tough teams, get punched in the mouth, and have to find their way up. the wide receiver room that this team is building, the defense that this team continues to build. Yeah, I know we've talked a lot about how the Patriots like to cut corners, love to just cut players to save money. They like to be cheap. It's the Patriots. They've been notoriously cheap. You remember a guy by the name of Tom Brady? They wouldn't even pay the greatest quarterback of all time that got them 6 titles. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do it. Never mind paying a guy like A.J. Brown or letting that dead cap hit. It's smart financially. And what they've done a really great job. And we'll go in-depth into this Patriots offseason. I want to go in-depth with the Patriots and in-depth in the Seahawks, because those are the 2 teams I follow. Seahawks being my team, number 1 team. Patriots, I just follow them because I'm from Boston. If I don't follow them, if I don't like them in some sort of way, I'll get my head chopped off in the streets of Boston. That's what Boston fans are like. We're not racist. We're just angry. And if you're from here and you don't follow it, you just become an alien really easily. Everybody hates you. Doesn't matter if you love the Celtics, the Bruins, and everybody, the Red Sox. If you don't like one of those 4 teams in New England in some sort of way, you're automatically get hate. But I digress. Those are the 2 things I want to talk about in the NFL, and I'll come back tomorrow with some real NBA talk, because I do want to get some stats out here. I want to get some records. I want to really break this down for you. I can sit here and yap about Detroit losing Cade Cunningham, and I'm not saying you guys wouldn't listen, but it would just sound like me yapping like any other guy on the street, and I don't want that. This is a triple threat show. We hold ourselves to high standards. Going on the last really quick, Miami's still up on Missouri. Kansas continued to blow out California Baptist, and UConn is up 4 at halftime. That is your sports update for the rest of the night. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the Triple Threat Show. I went 8-8 on games yesterday. Really quick, I'll go over my picks today. I went. I'll just do it. I'll just have the answer for you tomorrow. What's the point of me sitting here for 5 minutes counting off my computer screen? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Drop a follow on TikTok, Instagram, wherever it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. On YouTube, you can find us on the Triple Threat Show. On TikTok, you can find me on Boston Sports Takes, Twitch as well. We go live with all of our shows. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.